Yo, what's going on, y'all? We're gonna be continuing the reading the entire Bible series, and I haven't really been feeling the motivation to do these types of videos, but it's fine. It's fine. Let me just make sure that my mic is on. It is, and yeah, yeah. All right, let's get into it. Jacob's family settles in Goshen. Goshen. Then Jacob came and told Pharaoh, "My father and my brothers, with their flocks and their herds, and all that they own, I have come from the land of Canaan, and they are in the land of Goshen." He took 5 men from among his brothers and presented them to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to his brothers, as Joseph expected, "So what is your occupation?" And they said to Pharaoh, "Your servants are shepherds, both we, our father, and our fathers before us. Moreover," they said to Pharaoh, we have come to live temporarily sojourn in the land of Egypt, for there is no pasture for the flocks of your servants in our land. For the famine is very severe in Canaan. So now, please let your servants live in the land of Goshen." Then Pharaoh spoke to Joseph, saying, "Your father and your brothers have come to you. The land of Egypt is before you. Settle your father and your brother in the best of the land. Let them live in the land of Goshen, and if you know of any men of ability among them, put them in charge of my livestock." Then Joseph brought Jacob, Israel, his father, and presented him before Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And Pharaoh asked Jacob, "How old are you?" Jacob said to Pharaoh, "The years of my pilgrimage are 130. Few and unpleasant years, and few and unpleasant have been the years of my life, and they have not reached the years that my fathers lived during the days of their pilgrimage." And Jacob blessed Pharaoh and departed from his presence. So Jacob settled his father and brothers and gave him a possession in Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Rameses, Goshen, as Pharaoh commanded. Joseph provided and supplied his father and his brothers and all his father's household with food, according to the needs of their children. Now, in the course of time, there was no food in all the land, for the famine was distressingly severe, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan languished in destitution and starvation because of the famine. Joseph gathered all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, in payment for the grain which they brought, and Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. And when the money was exhausted in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, and all the Egyptians came to Joseph and said, "Give us food. Why should we die before your very eyes? For our money is gone." Joseph said, "Give up your livestock, and I will give you food in exchange for your livestock, since the money is gone." So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and he gave them food in exchange for the horses and the flocks and the herds and the donkeys, and he supplied them with food in exchange for all their livestock that year. When that year was ended, they came to him the next year and said to him, "We will not hide from my lord the fact that our money is spent. My lord also has our herds of livestock. There is nothing left in the sight of my lord but our bodies and our lands. Why should we die before your eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land in exchange for food, and we and our land will be servants to Pharaoh. And give us seed to plant, that we may live and not die, and that the land may not be desolate." Result of the famine. So Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for every Egyptian sold his field, because the famine was severe upon them. So the land became Pharaoh's, and as for the people, he relocated them temporarily to cities from one end of from Egypt's border to the other. On the land of the priests he did not buy, for the priests had an allot, allot, allotment, allotment. Hold on, allotment. Okay, I was trying really hard not to read atonement into that. Even then, though, that wouldn't make sense if that word was atonement. That wouldn't make sense at all. Um. All right. Anyway, had the priests had an allotment from Pharaoh, and they lived on the amount which Pharaoh gave them. So they did not sell their land. Then Joseph said to the people, "Look, today I have bought you and your land for Pharaoh. Now here is seed for you, and you shall plant the land, and you shall plant the land. At harvest time, when you reap the increase, you shall give 1/5 of it to Pharaoh, and 4/5 will be your own to use for seed for the field and as food for you and those of your households and for your little ones." And they said, "You have saved our lives. Let us find favor in the sight of my Lord, and we will be Pharaoh's servants." And Joseph made it a law over the land of Egypt, valid to this day that Pharaoh should have the fifth part of the crops. Only the land of the priests did not become Pharaoh's. Now, the people of Israel lived in the country of Egypt, in the land of Goshen, and they gained possessions and acquired property there, and were fruitful and multiplied greatly. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. So the length of Jacob's life was 147 years. And when the time drew near for Israel to die, he called his son Joseph and said to him, "If now I have found favor in your sight, please put your hand under my thigh and promise to deal loyally and faithfully with me. Please do not bury me in Egypt, but when I lie down with my fathers in death, you will carry me out of Egypt and bury me in their burial place at Hebron, in the cave of Machpelah." And Joseph said, "I will do as you have directed." And he said, "Swear to me that you will do it." So he swore to him. Then Jacob, bowed down in worship at the head of the bed. All right. Israel's last days. Now, sometime after these things happened, Joseph was told, "Your father is sick." So he told his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, with him to go to Goshen. And when Israel, was told, "Look now, your son Joseph has come to you. Israel strengthened himself and sat up on the bed. Then Jacob said to Joseph, "God Almighty appeared to me at Luz, Bethel, in the land of Canaan, and blessed me and said, Behold, I will make you fruitful and numerous, and I will make you a great company of people, and will give this land to your descendants after you as an everlasting possession." Now, your two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, who were born to you in the land of Egypt before I came to you in Egypt, are mine. Ephraim and Manasseh shall be mine, that is, adopted as my heirs, as sons as surely as Reuben and Simon are my sons. But other sons who were born to you after them shall be on your own. They shall be called by the names of their two brothers in their inheritance. Now as for me, when I came from Paddan in Mesopotamia, Rachel died beside me in the land of Canaan on the journey, when there was still some distance to go to Ephrath, and I buried her there on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. When Israel, who was almost blind, saw Joseph's sons, he said, "Who are these?" Joseph said to his father, "They are my sons, whom God has given me. whom God has given me here in Egypt. So he said, please bring them to me so that I may bless them. Now Israel's eyes were so dim from age that he could not see clearly. Then Joseph, bro. Then Joseph brought them close to him, and he kissed and embraced them. Then Israel said to Joseph, I never expected to see your face, but see, God has shown me your children as well. Then Joseph took the boys from his father's embrace, and he bowed before him with his face to the ground. Then Joseph took them both, Ephraim with his right hand towards Israel's left, and Manasseh with his left hand towards Israel's right, and brought them close to him. But Israel reached out his hand and laid it on the head of Ephraim, who was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head, crossing his hands intentionally, even though Manasseh was the firstborn. Then Jacob, Israel, blessed Joseph and said, the God whom my father Abraham and Isaac walked in faithful obedience, the God whom has been my shepherd, leading and caring for me all life to this day, the angel that is the Lord himself, who has redeemed me continually from all evil. Bless the boys, and may my name live on in them. May they be worthy of having their names linked with mine. And the names of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and may they grow in a great multitude in the midst of the earth. When Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand on Ephraim's head, it displeased him, because he was not the firstborn. And he grasped his father's hand to move it on from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. Joseph said to his father, not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Place your right hand on Manasseh's head. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. Manasseh also will become a people, and he will be great. But his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his descendants shall become a multitude of nations. Then Jacob blessed them that day, saying, By you Israel will pronounce a blessing, saying, May God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh. And he put Ephraim before Manasseh. Then Israel said to Joseph, Behold, I am about to die, but God will be with you, and bring you back to Canaan, the land of your fathers. Moreover, I have given you the birthright, one portion Shechem on the mountain ridge, more than any of your brothers, which I took reclaiming it for the land of the Amorites with my sword and with my bow. Israel's prophecy concerning his sons. Then Jacob called for his sons and said, Assemble yourselves around me, that I may tell you what will happen to you and your descendants in the days to come. Gather together and hear, O sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel, Jacob, your father. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might, the beginning of my strength and vigor. Preeminent in dignity and preeminent in power, that should have been your birthright. But unstable and reckless, and boiling over like water in sinful lust, you shall not excel or have the preeminence of the firstborn, because you went up to your father's bed with Bilhah. You defiled it. He went up to my couch. Okay, I got corrected on this. That doesn't say Simon. Let me go back. Oh yeah. That doesn't say Simon, that says Simeon. Simeon and Levi are brothers, equally headstrong, deceitful, vindictive, not vindical, where did I see that L? Vindictive and cruel. Their swords are weapons of violence and revenge. Oh, my soul, did not come into their secret council. Oh, my soul, do not come into their secret council. Let not my glory honor be united with their assembly, for I knew nothing of their plot. because in their anger they killed men and honored man Shechem and the Shechemites, and in their self will they lamed oxen. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide and disperse them in Jacob, and scatter them in the midst of the land of Israel. Judah, you are the one whom your brothers shall praise. Your hands will be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's sons shall bow down to you. Judah, a lion's club. With the prey, my son, you have gone high up the mountain. He stooped down. He crouched like a lion, and the lion, who dares rouse him? The scepter of royalty shall not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet, until Shiloh, the Messiah, the peaceful one, comes, and to him shall be the obedience of the peoples. Tying his foal to the strong vine, and his donkey's cloth to the choice vine. He washes his clothing in wine, because the grapevine produces abundantly, and his robes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker and sparkle more than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk. Another prophecy about Jesus, by the way. Zebulun shall dwell at the seashore, and he shall be a haven landing place for the ships, and his flank shall be towards Sidon, not Sidon, Sidon. Issachar is like a strong-boned donkey, crouching down between the sheepfolds. When he saw that the resting place was good and that the land was pleasant, he bowed his shoulder to bear burdens and became a servant at forced labor. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a venomous serpent in the way, a fanged snake in the path, that bites the horse's heels, so that his rider falls backwards. I wait for your salvation, O Lord. As for Gad, a raiding troop shall raid him, but he shall raid at their heels and assault them victoriously. Asher's food supply shall be rich and bountiful, and he shall yield and deliver royal delights. Naphtali is a doe let loose, a swift warrior which yields branched antlers, eloquent words. Joseph is a fruitful bow, a main branch of the vine, a fruitful bow by a spring, a fountain. Its branches run over the wall, influencing others. The skilled archers have bitterly attacked and provoked him. They have shot at him and harassed him, but his bow remained firm and steady in the strength that does not fail. For his arms were made strong and agile, by the hands of the mighty one of Jacob, by the name of the shepherd, the stone of Israel, by the God of your father who will help you, and by the Almighty who blesses you with blessings of the heavens above. Blessings lying in the deep that couches beneath. Blessings of the nursing breasts and of the fertile womb. The blessings of your father are greater than the blessings of my ancestors Abraham and Isaac. Up to the utmost bound of the everlasting hills, they shall be on the head of Joseph, even on the crown of the head of him who was the distinguished one, and the one who is prince among separate from his brothers. Benjamin is a ravenous wolf. In the morning he devours the prey, and at night he divides the spoil. All these are the beginnings of the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is what their father said to them as he blessed them, blessing each one according to the blessings or blessing appropriate to him. He charged them and said to them, I am to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the caves that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite. In the cave in the field at Machpelah, east of Mamre, in the land of Canaan that Abraham brought along with the field of Ephron the Hittite, to possess as a burial site. They buried Abraham and Sarah his wife. There they buried Isaac and Rebekah his wife, and there I buried Leah. The field and the cave that is in it was purchased from the sons of Heth. When Jacob, Israel, had finished commanding his sons, he drew his feet into the bed and breathed his last and was gathered to his people who had preceded him in death. Then, hold on. Burial preparations and mourning for Jacob. Then Joseph fell upon his father's face and wept over him and kissed him tenderly. Then Joseph ordered his servants, the physicians, to mummify his father. So the physicians embalmed Israel, Jacob. Now 40 days were required for this, for that is the customary number of days of preparation required for embalming. And the Egyptians wept and grieved for him in public mourning, as they would for royalty, for 70 days. When the days of weeping and public mourning for him were past, Joseph spoke to the nobles of the house of Pharaoh, saying, "If now I have found favor in your sight, please speak to me, Pharaoh." Saying, "My father made me swear an oath, saying, 'Hear me, I am about to die. Bury me in the tomb which I have prepared for myself in the land of Canaan.' So now let me go up to Canaan, please, and bury my father. Then I will return." And Pharaoh said, "Go up and bury your father, as he made you swear." So Joseph went up to Canaan to bury his father, and with him went all the officials of Pharaoh, the nobles of his court, and the elders of his household, and all the nobles and the elders of the land of Egypt, and all the household of Joseph and his brothers, and his father's household. They left only their little ones and their flocks and herds in the land of Goshen. Both chariots and horsemen also went up to Canaan with Joseph, and it was very great company. When they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond the Jordan, they mourned there with a great lamentation, expressions of mourning for the deceased, and extreme demonstrations of sorrow, according to Egyptian custom. And Joseph observed a 70-day mourning for his father. When the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, saw the mourning and the threshing of Atad, they said, "This is a grievous mourning for the Egyptians." Therefore the place was named Abel Mizraim, mourning of Egypt. It is west of the Jordan. Burial at Machpelah. So Jacob's sons did for him as he commanded them. For his sons carried him to the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah, east of the Mamre, which Abraham brought along with the field as a burial site from Ephron the Hittite. After he had buried his father, Joseph returned to Egypt, he and his brothers, and all who had gone up with him. When Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, "What if Joseph carries a grudge against us and pays us back in full for all the wrong which we did to him?" So they sent word to Joseph, saying, "Your father commanded us before he died, saying, You are to say to Joseph, I beg you, please forgive the transgressions of your brothers and their sin, for they did not do wrong, for they did you wrong. Now, please forgive the transgressions of the servants of the God of your father." And Joseph wept when they spoke to him. Then his brothers went and fell before him in confession. They said, "Behold, we are your servants, slaves." Hold on. Wait, okay. For we are your servants, slaves. But Joseph said to them, "Do not be afraid, for I am in the place of God. Am I in the place of God? Vengeance is his, not mine. As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good in order to bring about the present outcome, and that people would be kept alive as they are this day. So now do not be afraid. I will provide for you and support you and your little ones." So he comforted them, giving them encouragement and hope, and spoke with kindness to their hearts. Death of Joseph. Now Joseph lived in Egypt, and he and his father's household. And Joseph lived 110 years. Joseph saw the third generation of Ephraim's children, also the children of Machir, the son of Manasseh, were born and raised on Joseph's knees. Joseph said to his brothers, I am about to die, but God will surely take care of you and bring you up out of this land, to the land which He promised to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob to give to you. Then Joseph made the promise of Israel. Jacob swore an oath, saying, God will surely visit you and take care of you, returning you to Canaan. And when that happens, you shall carry my bones up from here. So Joseph died, being 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt. And that was it for Genesis. But I would continue reading, but I don't want to overload and just like move on to the next chapter. And then I'd rather just like, I know this was kind of short, but I'd rather just finish Genesis and then continue this next time. So yep. Anyway, that was a little short, but it's fun. It's fun. 26. It's fine. Whatever. God bless.